After a jam-packed 4 games of divisional round we had in this previous weekend, now we have 2 more gems to break down. AFC and NFC conference championship games, highly anticipated. We have the rematch between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs, and we have another rematch here with the 49ers against the Los Angeles Rams. Let's get ready. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your AFC and NFC championship game. 2 game slate we got going on for this weekend. It's out and early for you guys, so you guys have all this time to make your lineups, get everything set up for you. Have stacks of KC, have stacks for the Bengals, have stacks for the Rams, and for the 49ers. You need to cover all bases in these 4 games. I'm going to try to point you in the correct direction. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetJetsD. And also, do not forget, if you're a viewer and not a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Right now, we're currently around, 734, 735. The goal is 1K. 1K will be the giveaway, giving out money for that 1,000 subscriber. So, please show some love to your boy, and let's get into it. Now, we have this great 2 matchups for Sunday at 3 p.m. and 6:30. Let's start off with the quarterback position. All the guys we are going to focus on for this slate, and there's obvious options, okay? We have some very high talented quarterbacks that have stepped up and really prevailed their team to this situation right now. Let's start off with the most expensive one, and that is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes put on a supreme performance the past 2 weeks against Buffalo, against Pittsburgh. He's shown you why he's the baby GOAT, right? The GOAT is gone. He's been eliminated. Now it's baby GOAT time, and Patrick Mahomes back-to-back 40 bombs. Why do we not just stick with him? All right, this is a prime game for him. This is a defense he can take full advantage of. It doesn't matter about the defense, okay? They just went up against the number 1 defense in the Buffalo Bills, and they put up 42 points. He put up 42 points in back-to-back games. So defense does not matter because Patrick Mahomes does whatever he wants because he has all the weapons and all the talent. All right, he possesses everything in his control, and he's been very exceptional. He even took it to the next level. He was facing Josh Allen and did Josh Allen things. Ran the ball 7 times for 69 yards and a touchdown. There's no reason why you should fade Patrick Mahomes, but definitely have some backup plans just in case. Has a couple of lineups of Burrow, have a couple lineups of Matt Stafford, and I don't really want to go to Jimmy Garoppolo at all. So, next guy we're going to talk about second in the tier will be Matthew Stafford for me. Okay, Joe Burrow is going to come in third. Matt Stafford against this 49ers defense. He's faced them twice already. I think McVay is going to be ready for this third and final matchup of this season between the Rams and 49ers. Okay, they've already been beaten by this team twice. I don't know, and I doubt that it's going to be a third time around. I think Stafford's going to need to step up. He really proved himself in that Tampa Bay Buccaneers game with some very big clutch throws late in that game after the Buccaneers had came and tied the game at 27. If this was Jared Goff, he would have crumbled in those key throws that he made to Cooper Kupp wouldn't have been if it was Jared Goff. But Matt Stafford, this is the reason why they went and got him. This is the reason why McVay did that deal, because they believed in Matt Stafford, and Stafford stepped up to the occasion, and he's going to prove himself yet again in this game. So I love him against the San Francisco 49ers in the third matchup. So we got Mahomes, tier 1. Tier 2 is going to be Stafford. Tier 3 will be Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, obviously, great talent. Showed poise last game. He got sacked, 8, 9 times in that game, and they still came away with the win. It was a nice group effort, but there's question marks. And that question marks is that offensive line. Tennessee got after him, KC at home is going to do the same thing with Frank Clark and Melvin Gordon. Melvin Ingram, my bad. Melvin Ingram and Kenny and Clark are going to be on both sides, getting after the quarterback. Don't forget about Chris Jones. So there's a ton of pass rushers on the KC side. They're going to exploit that Cincinnati Bengals O line. And that's the only problem with that. So this is a very good run for the Cincinnati Bengals, but all things got to come to an end. And Joe Burrow is going to be third in my list because there's going to be question marks with that offensive line. Obviously, Casey's going to put up a ton of points. Joe Burrow should be in the backup, trying to catch up, play catch up, come from behind type of mode where he's going to put some fantasy points up from behind. But I do not see where Joe Burrow is going to be up comfortable on this Kansas City Chiefs team, and either they're going to run the ball with Joe Mixon or they're just going to coast things through. I see Joe Burrow struggling yet again in this type of game, but putting up solid fantasy points. That's why I have him third. I feel more comfortable with Patrick Mahomes and Stafford, and I'm leaving Joe Burrow third. As you can see, back-to-back weeks, 16 fantasy points and 17 fantasy points. Okay, this is the name of the game, fantasy points. Okay, who's going to put points on the board? And I trust Mahomes with his options and Stafford with Odell and Cooper Kupp and Van Jefferson, Higbee, and those options over Joe Burrow. Obviously, he has Chase, he has T. Higgins, and he has Tyler Boyd, but that offensive line is a huge question mark. All right, so we're going to have him as number 3. And Jimmy Garoppolo, we do have to speak about him, but he's going to be 4th on our list. Not impressive, obviously, in the game against Green Bay. That was in very cold weather. The game against Dallas, that was in a dome, so that should be no question, but he still only finished with 5 fantasy points. It would take like not a miracle, but he would have to not mess up. And he tends to throw that 1 interception or 2 interceptions a game where Jimmy G is like, what? But we're going to stay away from him. He's going to be 4th in our seeding against the Rams in Week 18, only 17 points. And in Week 10, only 15. So that's why he's going to finish 4th on our list. Let's move over to the running back position. There's some gems in here, okay? Some nice, high-touted running backs here at a nice salary as well. Joe Mixon is the first one we're going to talk about. He's been a big dual threat. I have no problem going to him in this situation, especially if you see Cincinnati Bengals down. They're going to be using Joe Mixon in the receiving game. 6 of 7 for 51 against Tennessee, 4 for 5 for 28 against the Raiders. And that last game against KC, 7 for 8 for 40, and only ran for 46 yards. So at 6,800, the highest price running back, that's a lot to ask for, but we do see some upside in that receiving department. We will have just a little bit of him. He's not one of my favorites. Let's continue on. Eli Mitchell against the Rams, top tier run defense. Didn't do really well in Week 18, only 8.5, and in the Week 10, only 9 fantasy points. I have to speak about him, so he's going to be lower on our list, but he does have a high volume. Okay, he needs to get in the end zone to really sell his salary at 5,900, but the touches are there. 20 touches against Green Bay. He had 28 touches against Dallas, and in that last game against the Rams, he had 21 touches. So volume is there. The question mark will be getting in the end zone. So he's going to be lower on our list and not make the guaranteed running back spots, okay? Next, what we're going to look at will be Cam Akers. Cam Akers at 5,000 is going to be my first running back I want to play this Sunday. He is taking a full workload against Tampa Bay. They really trusted him, even despite the fact that he fumbled the ball twice. I know they're going to be expecting that this week, this Sunday. Hopefully he cleans that up in that game. But what I like to see was 24 rushing attempts. The yardage, 48, that's fine. But they used him as a bell cow. And then they used him in the receiving department, 3 for 3 for 20. So he's getting the full workload. Sony Michel has fallen behind. And now Cam Akers is going to be the star. I love him at 5K. He is an absolute lock for this 2-game slate. Give me some Cam Akers. Next. Now, this one, we're going to have to do a little flip-flop here. You have 2 options. You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 5,300, and you also have Jerick McKinnon at 5,100. Both of these guys are being used, but lately, Jerick McKinnon has been the number one running back getting the more touches. They're using him more in the passing game, more in the screen game. They're trusting him with that. And they're using Clyde Edwards-Helaire more in the HB draw. They're just doing regular running plays. I think the more value is with Jerick McKinnon, so I'm going to lean him. And he's going to be my second running back that we're going to have in our lineup build for this Sunday. Jerick McKinnon, outstanding against the Buffalo Bills. 10 for 24, had 5 receptions, 7 targets for 54 yards, did lose a fumble, but was someone they leaned upon, especially in that red zone area. So, Jerick McKinnon, love him at that price. Number 2 would be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You never know if they get one of the guys get tired. Jerick McKinnon gets tired and they want to fill in. Clyde Edwards-Helaire can also be that guy as well. He ran well, 7 for 60, 8 yards to carry, did catch 1 ball on 2 targets, so that was some upside right there. So maybe they were working him in. I think you should split your ownership between McKinnon and Edwards-Helaire since it was CEH's first game back. Let's move on down below. I think that's it for the running backs. I'm not going Jeff Wilson. I don't think he didn't have any touches right there. Can we find someone sneaky? Sony Michel only had a few touches last week. He only had 1 touch, and he had 2 receptions. So if he gets to the end zone, that's a maybe. But other than that, I don't really see a possibility with any of these running backs down here. The last but not least running back would be Kyle Juszczyk because he does get used for the 49ers. They'll run a couple, screens for him. He had 2 catches against Dallas. He had 2 runs against Green Bay. So if he gets to the end zone, you really need that. But I think I would stick to Akers and either McKinnon or CEH. And then if not one of those guys, just get Joe Mixon at the top. Now, let's move over to the wide receiver position. And we're going to pair our favorite wide receivers with our top 2 quarterbacks. Obviously, the third quarterback is Joe Burrow. I love Chase Young. I love T. Higgins. I love Tyler Boyd. Those are all great options. But we're going to pair with our initial 2. And that's going to start off with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill had a monster game against the Buffalo Bills. This is what we expected from Tyreek Hill all season long, and he showed it out. He even chucked up the deuces on the Buffalo Bills on that big touchdown that he had last week. 11 receptions, 13 targets, 150 yards, and a touchdown. Also had a rush attempt as well. Tyreek Hill is a freak of nature, and he is definitely needed in your lineup builds. Any throw to him, he can take it to the house, okay? Next guy that's going to be on our list will be Cooper Kupp because I love Matt Stafford. Cooper Kupp, number 1 option on the offense. Came through with 9 receptions, 11 targets, 1 TD. Clutch catches down the stretch. The Triple Crown wide receiver in Cooper Kupp is a lock for this week. Next, who we're going to go to is Deebo Samuel because of his usage. This is someone we're going to have to monitor. He is questionable. Expected to practice Wednesday, so we're going to see on that. He was a little winded. He got hit really bad in that game against Green Bay. The cold weather was a factor as well. But the usage here, rushing 10 for 39, and then receptions 3 for 44 against Green Bay. They got him lining up as a wide receiver, as a running back. They're doing curl routes with him, wheel routes with him, everything with Deebo Samuel, okay? So he's definitely someone we're going to have to look at. Obviously, I just can't pick all the high-priced guys. We're going to have to look at some other gems here. Jamar Chase, obviously, I spoke about him at 6,700. T. Higgins is another guy that we can look at. If they want to focus in on Jamar Chase, because they do not want that to happen again. I'm telling you right now, the Kansas City Chiefs do not want Jamar Chase to have that day he did. 58 fantasy points the last game he facing the Kansas City Chiefs. 11 for 266 and 3 touchdowns. They're not going to let that happen. I'm telling you that right now. They are not going to let that happen. So I think they're going to focus in on him, and then they're going to let, hopefully, maybe T. Higgins can be the guy, and or Tyler Boyd will be the number 2 option. Someone's going to get the residuals if they shut down Jamar Chase. So that's going to lead to T. Higgins, to Tyler Boyd, and probably maybe Uzuma as a tight end. So we're going to look at those type of guys. I'll throw T. Higgins in there as a flex play. Let's clear out some of these guys and fit in some of the cheaper wide receivers down below. Let's continue to go down. Odell Beckham has been a model of consistency week in and week out. solid performances in week 20, 19, 17, and 16, getting you over double-digit fantasy points at the price of 5,100. Very solid, and he's one of the top options in the red zone for this offense, right behind Cooper Kupp. So Odell Beckham gets a mention in this game. I really like what I've seen out of him. He's a little bit motivated right now, and they have a high octane offense. All right, next wide receiver we're going to look at is Brandon Ayuk. With some of the, the banged up Debo Samuel as a wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk is going to need to step up. Bad performance against Green Bay, didn't really get looked at, had a drop as well. So I think he'll have a bounce back performance. He's been consistent every other week 19, 18, 17, and 16, putting well over double digit fantasy points. Definitely someone we can consider at that price of 5,000. Let's continue down below. There's still gems down here. The guy that's really stepped up as the next best wide receiver behind Tyreek Hill has been Byron Pringle. All right, he has 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games, 3 touchdowns in the playoffs period this year as well. 5 for 7 for 29 and 5 for 7 for 37. Really looking for him in that red zone area. Other than Travis Kelce, that's really helped out the offense as well. So I love Byron Pringle in this matchup. We're going to go back to that well at 4,300. A nice salary saver with some nice upside, okay? Miko Hardman is the third wide receiver in this one. He happened to get a rushing touchdown. That was a benefit for him. So he's used in multiple variations as well. He has that speed capability. So Hardman and Pringle are going to be on the list. Let's continue down at 3,900. Van Jefferson is wide receiver 3 in this offense, and we really need him to get that deep ball. It can happen in this game against San Francisco. So definitely keep your eye open for him. Keep a nice little percentage going towards Van Jefferson as well. Let's see if we can find anyone else down below cheaper than Van Jefferson. We got Demarcus Robinson at 3,800. Juwan Jennings is probably the last person I would go to right here at 3,200. In this previous matchup against the Los Angeles Rams, he had 6 receptions, 7 targets, 94 yards, and 2 TDs. Very solid performance. So the cheapest I would go would be Juwan Jennings. If you spent up at every other position, definitely keep your eye out on him. All right, now let's move over to the final position in the tight ends. And obviously, we want to lock in Travis Kelce. Cincinnati Bengals are bottom in the league going up against the tight end position. I said this the last time they faced Cincinnati, and he had 13 fantasy points. Did get in the end zone, just didn't have a huge day. So I expect Travis Kelce to get targeted just a little bit more and get those yards after the catch as well. Similar to what he did against Buffalo, 8 for 9 for 96. He's pretty much guaranteed for the touchdown. You just need the yards. So I think it's pretty much safe to say that the lock at the tight end position will be Travis Kelce. Okay. Other guys we can look at will be George Kittle. He finally woke up against Green Bay, 4 for 63. Didn't get in the end zone, but had a solid performance. The previous 2 matchups against the Rams had 5 receptions for 10 yards, and in week 10 he had 16 fantasy points, 5 for 50 yards, and a TD. Kittle is definitely someone to, if you already spent up and you only have a little bit left, 5,000 for Kittle is pretty solid price, very cheap price. Next would be Tyler Higbee. He's going to get a set amount of looks each and every game. They throw screens to him. He's obviously eating up that middle area of the field while all the attention is going to be on Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham. Tyler Higbee is a forgotten man. Definitely someone you could look at 3,700. And the cheapest I would go right here is CJ Uzomah at 3,400. Very nice performance against Tennessee, who's pretty much top ranked against tight ends. But he had 7 receptions, 8 targets, and 71 yards. I like CJ Uzomah, especially with all the eyes going to be on Jamar Chase. The residuals will go down to these other receivers on this offense: Uzomah, Boyd, and Higgins. Okay, and obviously there's always some weird touchdown from a backup tight end. Last week was Kendall Blanton. Right here, he happened to get a touchdown. He had 2 targets, 9 fantasy points there. I don't think you need to go that route in this setting of only 2 games. I think you're pretty solid on either Kittle or obviously Kelce and even Higbee or Uzuma. So I don't really think we have to go there. Focus in on those main guys, and you should be fine. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessNessJustD. And also, if you have any question marks for any of the positions I just spoke about, QB, running back, wide receiver, and or tight end, let me know in that comment section down below. I'll definitely be glad to get back to you. And let's get this money, guys. I'll be back very soon with another video. Peace out.